Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Bible study. Uh, just glad to have everybody watching. One thing I really believe is that midweek Bible study or some kind of a midweek service is it's just so important to your walk with Christ. From one Sunday to the next, just you cool off too much. You need that encouragement part of the way through the week. So I think this will help everybody. And to get things started, I've got a special guest this morning that wanted to come and say hello. So, everybody, this is Ari Bell. Say more. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, now go play with Mommy and Daddy's gonna record Bible study. Good girl. She's really excited to say hi. Okay, so we're back in 1 John chapter 1. If you'll remember last time, we talked about we're going to be learning how to fellowship with God. Just want to bring back to remembrance that verse out of Amos chapter 3, verse 3. It's been on my mind all week. It's a great verse. It says, can two walk together except they be agreed? Except we be agreed with God, how can we walk with Him? So just keep that one in mind as we study this book of the Bible. I think we'll be talking about that a lot, because that's just what First John's about, is how we can walk with Him. And then the other thing from last week, all this, we want to walk with Him because we see there at the end of verse 4 that our joy will be made full. So that's we're wanting to realize the joy that's been promised to us. There's a lot of our brothers and sisters that don't have that joy, and we want everybody to realize it. That there should be joy in walking with the Lord and serving the Lord and just fellowshipping with the Lord. That joy is what'll sustain us. So without that, we're weak. But we're going to study this, and we're going to find out where the joy is at. So then we'll just jump right into verse 5. It says, "This then is the message which we have heard of Him and declare unto you, that God is light, and in Him is no darkness at all." That is one of those statements. It's kind of a bottomless well. You never the statement that God is light. You could never totally explain that. Not in this lifetime anyway. That's the whole truth of the whole Bible, of everything that we know of God. But one thing right here is, it said that God is light. It doesn't say that God has light, God provides light, any of that. It says that God is light. And because of that, this light, it's the totalness of what God's character is. And as we study this book, it's going to tell us how to be more like God so we can walk with Him. So what I'm going to do right here, I've got this notebook that I've started taking notes on this study. and I'm going to take a page, and at the top of the page, I'm writing the word light. And as we see going through this book, each example of light that God provides us, that God is, I'll write it down. I went through this over the last few days preparing, and it's such a deep statement that if we stop there with this, the statement that God is light, we would never get any further. So we'll just as we go through this, we'll identify all the ways that God is light, and we still, like I said, you'll never identify all of it, but just to get started, I've found a few verses. There are so many in the Bible that talk about God and light, but it all begins with life. God is light because God is life. God provides and began all life, and because of that, all the other ways that we're going to see that God is light come from that God is the creator of all and gave life to all. It made me think of Exodus chapter 3, verse 14. And Moses was talking to God, and God sent him to the children of Israel in Egypt. And Moses said, well, if they ask, who should I say sent me? And God answered back, he said, tell them, I am who I am sent you. And what that basically means, I am who I am. I am life just because I am life. God is life. We call Christ, or Christ calls himself, the Alpha and Omega, from the eternal past to the eternal future. Always has been, always will be, just life itself. So with that life is light. Psalm 36 verse 9 says, for with you is the fountain of life, in your light we see light. Another one, John chapter 8 in verse 12. When Jesus spoke again to the people, he said, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. So all these ways that we're going to see that God is light, it all originates with life. One more before we go on. Like I said, there's so many we can't look at them all, but and we'll add to them as we go. But John chapter 1, not 1 John chapter 1, but the Gospel according to John, the big book, chapter 1 says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of all man. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome. So it all starts with life. There are a lot of other ways that we'll see that God, that the Bible tells us that God's light, but it all starts with life. We see that light is righteousness, but God's righteousness starts in Him being the Creator. Think about Job. Job was having doubts and questions, and God said, "Well, where were you when I set the foundation of the world?" You know, what I say is right in this world is goes because I was the one that created it. That gives him the right to say. We see light as God's beauty, as He's the standard of all beauty and all glory, because he is the Creator. He is life, truth. God created it, so His truth is absolute. So all of it starts with that. And like I said, I've started this list of the light right here that as we hit each one of them studying through this book, we'll just get better and better understanding of what's God's, why God is light. That being said, in Him's no darkness at all. Darkness is where there's no light, where the light's not shining. The light casts out darkness. So where the light's not shining, that's you're going to have darkness. Just a little bit more in John chapter 1, talking about the darkness. I didn't have that one printed out on my sheet, so just give me a second here to find it. This is in the big book of John, the Gospel according to John. Still, chapter 1 says it talks about John the Baptist for a little bit, and then in verse 7 says, "The same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light." This is talking about John here, that all men through him might believe. He was not the light, but he was sent to bear witness of that light, that the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world, he was in the world. Right now we're talking of Christ. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He came into his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them he gave the power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe in his name, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. The Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, and the glory of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. Okay, so the light came into the world, dwelt among us, and the world on the whole knew him not. His own people that he came to knew him not. But there were some that recognized the light and ran to it, and to those they're the sons of God. Just give him all the praise for that. So this darkness, before we move on, I just want to talk about that a little bit. The darkness inside the heart of man. And to start to appreciate the light, we got to see what it is without the light and the darkness. Romans chapter 3 talks about this. It says in Romans chapter 3, starting at verse 9, what the heart of man is. And when I say the heart of man, I mean the heart of man unregenerated, not born again, in Adam, the heart of the lost. This is really important to understand what this darkness is. It says, Romans 3:9 starts out, "What then? Are we better than they? No, in no wise." He's talking about the Gentiles, Jews and the Gentiles. "For we have before proved, both Jews and Gentiles, that they're all under sin. As it is written, there's none righteous, no, not one. There's none that understandeth. There's none that seeketh after God. They are all gone out of the way. They are together become unprofitable. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. Their throat is an open sepulchre." That's a grave. Their throat, what comes out of their mouth, an open grave, death. And with their tongues they have used deceit. The poison of asps is under their lips. With a mouthful of cursing and bitterness, their feet are swift to shed blood. Destruction and misery are their ways, and the way of peace they've not known. There is no fear of God before their eyes. Now we know that what things soever the law saith, it is to them who are under the law, that every mouth may be stopped, and all the world may become guilty before God. That was the purpose of the law, was to show man what their true state was. And right here, Paul in Romans chapter 3 gives us a picture of what man is without Christ, without being born again. All of us who've been born again should be able to look back at that and say, yeah, that was me. Because without accepting the fact that how sinful you are, you can't be born again. You can't be saved, can't be born again unless you realize that you're a lost sinner. So that's what the darkness is. It's pretty dark. All right, so we've talked about the light and we've talked about the darkness. Now, where do we fall? The church, the born again. Where do we fall into that whole picture? If you remember last time, I had a verse in 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 4, and I'll go there right now. Second Peter 1:4 says, "Whereby are given unto us exceeding great and precious promises, that by these ye might be partakers of the divine nature, having escaped the corruption that is in this world through lust. So, we're partakers of the divine nature. That means that some of that light is inside of us. But the thing is that light is wrapped about by this old flesh, and you might call it old Adam. There's one teacher I listen to a lot. That's what he calls it. He just keeps referring to old Adam. You've got the light inside you and old Adam on the outside. And there's civil war raging inside you at all times. The spirit and the flesh. Romans chapter 8 says that verse 4 starting out, it says, the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us who walk not after the flesh. That's that old Adam I was talking about, but after the Spirit. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the Spirit, the things of the Spirit. To be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life. Or that word life comes up again. And peace. Because the carnal mind is enmity against God. Like I said there it's a civil war been declared. For it is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be. So they that are after the flesh cannot please God. We're still in this body. And until we get our new glorified body, it's going to be a fight. And I've heard it and I've thought it myself over the years. This flesh gets its way sometimes, leads us away from the light. I hear so much that the old saying, well, the spirit's willing, but the flesh is weak. That's true, but think about what you just said there. The flesh is weak. We've got the light. We, 2 Peter 1:4, we are partakers of the divine nature. We got something stronger in us to where we can live for God than this weak flesh. This weak flesh, once we study our Bible, once we get to praying, this divine nature inside of us can and will conquer old Adam, the old nature, this flesh that tries to lead us out of the light and into the shadows of the darkness. I thought about it. That old man Adam, old nature that we got from Adam, he cast a big shadow. And that's what he wants to do, is put us in the shadows. He wants to stand in between us and God, so we'll be in his shadow. And we're going to learn through the scriptures here how not to let that happen. God has decided. It's not just he's decided, he's promised us that we would come into the light and not let that old flesh get the best of us, and he would teach us how to do it. Romans chapter 8, what in Romans chapter 8 this time it says, verse 29, it says, for whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. God knew us. He saved us. And it's done been decided, and it's done been promised right here. If you're born again, that he will conform you to the image of his Christ, or his Son, Christ. And the thing about that, we saw in John chapter 1, just read it, that he is light. He came into the world. He's the light of the world. So it's promised to us, if we're born again, that we will be conformed. We don't start out that way. We start off as babes in Christ. Babes, kids, babies don't come into this world knowing anything. They got to be taught everything. That's the way it is when we get saved, when we inherit this new divine nature. The nature's in us, but we gotta learn what to do with it. We gotta be trained up. We gotta make good habits. If not, we'll be like a kid that's never been taught anything, that's never learned anything, that's not developed any good habits. Just the same way. It's the same way in our spiritual life. So as we study this, we should start learning what it's going to take that we might be conformed to that image. We said that from the beginning that the whole purpose here is that we can agree with him where we can walk with him. If we get conformed to his image, we'll agree with him. We'll walk with him. And before we get done here, we're at about 27 minutes. I just want to, one more time, I can't say this enough, you must be born again. John chapter 3 talks all about it. I'll even flip over here and read it real quick before we end today. We've not covered very many verses today, but we got to start off with a solid foundation of who's who and what's what before we can start building anything on top of that. And the foundation of everything is Christ, and you must be born again. John chapter 3, Nicodemus had come to talk to Jesus. This is at the beginning of his public ministry. He had been and cleansed the temple and got everybody's attention. And Nicodemus, who was a teacher of the Jews, one of the Sanhedrin, the rulers, came to him. And Jesus said to him, this is John chapter 3, "Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God." You've got to be born again. Hopefully reading through, studying deep into 1 John here, it's going to show you the nature that's been put into you, the light that's been put into you. As we look at all of these things, take stock. Paul to the Corinthians told them to examine themselves. Look inside yourself and decide, do I have this light, this divine nature in me? Put the effort to put it into practice. Some people aren't showing the light because they've never known what the light was and never put the effort into it to bring the light out. It takes work. This old flesh is fighting against us, but it's important. You need to decide: are you born again? Does your life support your statement that you're born again? I don't want anybody thinking that they've been saved and not be born again. It happens. I went down when I was 13 years old to the altar, and there must have been some faith there. I was a real shy kid, and I wouldn't have went by if I didn't believe something. But I was baptized, and I stayed with it for a few years till I was about 16, 17. Then one thing and then another happened, and I ended up going off, and the life that I lived for the next decade and a half, it didn't support that I had the divine nature in me. And that's a scary thing. We're talking about eternity here, people. So the reason that we're looking at 1 John, I want everybody that is born again, I want them to understand being born again and to put the new nature into practice. That way that your joy be full, you start bearing fruit. And if there's anyone there that is like what I talked about, and your life's not bearing out that you're of the new nature, we need to do something about it. We need to figure it out. I don't want anybody standing before the great white throne, and that's where you figure out that you don't, you're not born again, you're not of the new nature. That's eternity's at stake here. Matthew chapter 7, and this is, I'll leave it here. It's Matthew chapter 7 says, "Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they're ravening wolves. Ye shall know them by their fruits." That's what I'm trying to get right here. Everybody to look at your fruits. Decide, or which one of these do you fall under? Are you of the light, or are you of that darkness that I read about in Romans 3? Come to some conclusions. Says, do men gather grapes of thorns, or figs of thistles? So every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. If you're of the light and you've got the light inside you, the divine nature that we've talked about, it's going to come out. It might take some work. It might take some effort. It might take learning some new things, but it'll come out like it said in Romans 8. It's done been decided, been predestined that you'll be conformed to the image of Christ. Said, every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. That's a scary statement. I don't want anyone, any of our family, friends, falling into that. Said, wherefore by their fruits ye shall be known. Your actions don't justify you before God, but they show what's inside of you. No flesh is justified through works, any kind of works, Ephesians chapter 2. But what's inside you will show by what's outside you. let's see, says not verses 21, 22, and 23. This is all the scripture I'll read today. But just take this to heart, everybody. When just examine yourself. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name have done many wonderful works. And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. See, they were doing some works. They were even doing them in his name, but they weren't according to his truth. They were walking in the darkness, claiming that they were in the light, and we see where it's gonna end them. He's sending them on down the road. I don't want that to happen to anybody. So just everybody be in prayer for the Sunday morning services. Ari Bell's going to spend some time over at Nanny's and Papa's this weekend, so hopefully I'll, if the Lord's willing, I'll be over there. We hopefully we'll have a good time in the Lord. He'll be exalted, lifted up. We'll be encouraged, and just think about this. What's inside of you? Is it light, or is there darkness inside of you? Is it read Romans 3 again. Be honest with yourself. The Bible says that no one knows the heart of a man but the spirit of a man. Nobody knows what's inside you except you. So think about that. I don't want anybody to be like Matthew 7. Right now the altar's open. It's open for salvation. If anyone's out there that has got something, but what you got don't satisfy you, that you're walking in the light, tell somebody. Get some help. Don't be proud and let it end you up in hell. That's just as plain as I can make it. But I love you. I love y'all. I'm just trying to put the truth out there so we can grow, we can bear fruit. Thank y'all, and I'll see you next time.